What a beautiful day it is here in Jersey as we count down to the start of the triple mix. There's not too long to go now, and it's going to be, wow, a difficult race. Flora Duffy and Chris McCormack alongside me, and you can see, well, they say the locals that it's always like this in Jersey. I can tell you that it is not. The air temp 17, the water temp 17.8, so it's actually warmer in the water, if you can believe that. Let's have a look now at the start list. Katie Zafiris, the champion from Jersey last time, alongside Summer Cook and Kirsten Casper. The three incredible Americans. There's plenty of talent all the way through the list down to Emma Jeffcoat in 10. We move along. This isn't the starts on the pontoon. This is just the numbers. We've got Desiree Ryder, one of our young athletes, and then a host of Americans there in the middle. Megan Foley, Sarah Alexander amongst them, Kate Woff, Ashley Gentle, who had a win 2 weeks ago as well. But talent all the way through the field, and they'll be taking on this incredibly tough course. 150 out to the first buoy on the swim, 2 left-hand turns, up into transition, up the ramp. There is the bike and run. They're both in the same course, and it's packed with local jerseys. Fantastic event, this one. They know exactly what to expect. It's going to be huge, the triple mix. Here is a little explainer of how it works. 2 mass starts, stage 1 and stage 2, and every second you fall behind is paid for in the pursuit style start for stage 3. So the first athlete across the lines will do it, and it is going to be an absolutely amazing race, and we're about to get things underway. Guys, are you excited?
Very excited. I've been looking at this slot draw. I think that Vicky's in a good spot out there at the far right side of the slot, the start position. I think there's some weaker swimmers out there. She may get some clear water, and we saw the advantage that played last year.
You're seeing different coloured outfits there. There is the red for last year's run leader, the blue for last year's swim leader, the green I don't think is worn by anyone because Nicholas Spirig unfortunately is not here. There's a couple of white as well swimming trunks, and they are for young athletes. So obviously everything will change after we come out of Jersey, but right now you can see Ashley Gentle having a chat with, I think that's Leonie Perriot of France, just maybe talking a little bit about how they're going to attack this one, because I think 15 in terms of pontoon positions is the straightest line, but it's also amongst the washing machine, so some athletes preferring to be on the outside. Flora, where would you pick?
Oh, I much prefer to be on the outsides. You know, it's much easier to get into some clear water there, get into your stroke. Being right there in the middle, if you don't have a good start, yeah, as you said, you get caught up in that washing machine and it just feels like you're going nowhere, and it makes already an incredibly hard swim even that much more difficult.
All right, it's all about as well who's swimming around you. Vicky Holland, I guess, lucked out in some ways because there is an empty slot position next to her. You can see it there on the left-hand side of the girls lining up, because Mary Alex England, unfortunately, with a groin problem, has had to pull out late on, so she has a little bit of space to her right. But Katie Zafiris in slot number 5. She also picked out Summer Cook, who she knows very well and knows is a strong swimmer, and put her right next to each other. So you can see how the tactics is working, Macca.
Yeah, without question. I think the get-out speed is what's important in this short style of racing. And I think Summer Cook does move very, very quickly at the first part of the swim, as does Desiree Ryder, but you'd know better than anyone, Laura.
Yeah, I would also have my eye on Sophie Caldwell. Quite often in, well, yeah, I swim against her all the time. She's one of the feet that you try to get onto in that first sort of 100 to 150 metres.
Okay, 300 in the swim, 5Ks on the bike, and a 1.6K run, and we are underway for season 2018-19 here at Super League Triathlon Jersey. A clean start it looked like already. We can see a couple in the middle putting a little bit on the rest of the pack. They'll come down 150 metres before a sharp left-hand turn, and then it's up the ramp onto the bike for 5Ks and coming home with a 1.6K run. Times will be crucial, and someone there, I think, came from about 7 or 8, has got quite the lead.
Is that the Australian?
That is an incredible start. I'm trying to figure out exactly who that is.
Could that be Danielle Di Francesco, number 94, the 24-year-old? She led out at the Noosa Tri in 2016. She was a former Olympic trialist in the 200 metres, so she knows how to swim, and she certainly does look like she has a swimmer's style rather than, I guess, that more choppy style of a classic triathlete. She has absolutely got the field. If that is indeed Danielle, it's a little bit difficult to see, and we'll keep you updated, of course, as we move along. And there is the washing machine behind her as 2 athletes as well go head-to-head. Can we see who that is?
It's definitely Danielle. She's got more than a body length, which makes it easier swimming for her. She doesn't get the athletes dragging off her shoulder and slowing them down, so she could actually open right up here.
Joanna Brown of Canada, the Commonwealth Games bronze medalist, is one of those 2 behind her closest to the screen in number 11, but this field already spreading out. We've got Di Francesco ahead of Brown, and then a pack, and there are already probably 40 metres covering the field after also 150. We knew these girls were going to go out hard, but didn't realise it was going to be this hard for her.
Yeah, the girl at the front, she is really flying and has stretched the field out, which is hard to do over, I mean, they're at the first buoy, 150 meters. But already, yeah, you can see a few getting caught up as they go around the first buoy, make their way to the second, and then I'll turn left and head right into the swim exit.
Summer Cook there, as is Georgia Taylor-Brown, came third overall in the WTS series, just on the outside, just coming around underneath the pole right now. This is around 50 metres until they make another left-hand turn, and Danielle Di Francesco has got about 3 body links on the field as it stands at this point. Don't forget, every single second between them as they arrive back in after this first swim bike run stage is going to be paid for later on, and the field spreading out considerably, so most athletes getting at least a little bit of space to work with there.
Not a lot of space. Not a lot of space.
Little bit.
I think what's going to be interesting here, if it is Danielle off the front, is that she's going to be implemented with the first ever short shoot. She's going to get a big advantage coming onto that bike, and we'll see just how much that plays. She's going to get a clear run through transition, be able to put her shoes on and make a move, which could hold things up, because we've got a lot of the faster swimmers up front aren't technically as astute on the bike.
Well, the other thing that's going to string this out is the swim exit. Of course, they have to run up that ramp, and it's quite a long run into T1. So that's also a crucial make-it-or-break-it part of the race.
Perfect water conditions here, no chop whatsoever, and Danielle Di Francesco is having a great time of it out front. You can see how far she's strung the field out already as they've turned for home, and not too far now from arriving back on dry land. It's a 12-metre quite steep ramp as well up to transition, which can be very difficult when all the blood in your body is in your arms and you have to immediately find a way. You can see it at the top of your screen there, that ramp, and then they'll turn, almost a dead turn around back into transition for the first time to get on the bike.
I think I can see number 95 there, Vicky Holland. She's sitting in about 3rd position, possibly even 2nd, so that's an excellent swim for her. And nope, I believe that was Sophie Caldwell.
Yeah, Sophie Caldwell.
That was first out of the water.
It was. Yeah, our mistake there. We thought it was Di Francesco, but it is in fact Sophie Caldwell. So we know how strong a swimmer she is, and plenty of slipping as the blood tries to get stuck into the legs there. And up we go. Sophie Caldwell is your leader heading in, and she will get the short shoot if she can cross the dismount line. Emma Jeffcoat in 2nd, Vicky Holland in 3rd, ahead of Desiree Rydener, Summer Cook.
There's Kate, and there Katie Safaris, the end of that group.
Jodie Stimson there as well, as they come into transition for the first time. Plenty of transitions today. Sophie Caldwell will be your short shoot recipient. Yeah. Holland there, you can see Jodie Stimson, Kirsten Casper, Rachel Klammer amongst them as well. Cassandra Beaugras, the French 21-year-old, look out for her on the run, absolutely. Claire Michel back of screen with Leonie Perriot as well, but straight onto the bike first. And taking the short shoot is Sophie Caldwell, and that is a huge advantage coming in to this bike league. You can see already how much time she's put into the field just by being able to take that short shoot, and Macca, it's working exactly how you wanted it to. And
it was Sophie who made us initiate the short shoot in the first place. We saw this last year. She dominated the swim. She was very, very aggressive on the bike. She's got the break that the short shoot's supposed to create, and it puts a lot of the pressure on those riding behind now.
Interesting, the different tactics coming up, because you can see there's a little rise coming out of transition, whether you bother putting your feet into the shoes and getting everything sorted out, or waiting until you get onto flat land. Right now, Rydener, Katie Zafiris, Summer Cook, Georgia Taylor-Brown, and there is your top 10. Not much to cover all of them at this point, but right out in front of everyone is Sophie Caldwell. 4 laps on the bike as she takes to the roundabout of peril, where we saw so many people come unstuck last year, and she's taking it a little bit easy. Because it's a turnaround, she'll have the ability now to see how far ahead she is, and it is quite a way.
Yeah, it is. I'm really curious to see what she will do here, if she will try to wait for the 2 behind her, Emma Jeffcoat, and
I think Vicky Holland in 3rd at this point.
Yeah, Vicky Holland is back there. So, yeah, but if I were her, I think I would just sort of go for it and force the others to chase her, really put them under pressure. If it's such a short bike, then she's an incredible rider. So
I think she's going to attack. She did that last year, and last year she had everybody on her wheel, so she's going to go straight from the front. We see her race like this in the mixed relay. She's such a great aggressive racer at this short sprint racing.
Onto the cobblestones, and Thunder Alley you can see coming through the back of the course. She'll turn left in a second and come back into transition. But we worried a little bit. I guess it was very windy here yesterday, how they would fare if they're out alone on the bike, but much better conditions today. And the ability for an experienced biker such as Sophie Caldwell to maintain a gap, if not increase it, and she's looking to push as she comes through transition for the first time. She doesn't get to use the short chute every time she comes around. I have to remind everyone of that. Just the short chute is for the first time through transition, whether you're on swim, bike or run. For the swim, there's a closer spot on the pontoon to jump into the water. Everyone else has to go wider. 9 seconds between Sophie Colwell and Emma Jeffcoat, and not much between the rest of the top 10. Kirsten Casper, 4th in the world this year and last year as well, rounds out our top 10, but you could throw a blanket over the rest of them at this point. Kate Woff in 18th ahead of Charlotte Machine and Ashley Gentle, who has some time to make up. Danielle Di Francesco, who we thought was in first position, is in fact back in 20th ahead of Megan Foley, Erin Story and Vanessa Della Torre, and Claudia Seebock 40 seconds back at this point, so she's having a little bit of a tough time of it coming out of the swim.
What's going to be very, very difficult for the girls now is the ones that got up the front in the swim that tend to go backwards in the bike course. They sort of create a blockage for the people that have had bad swims. Ashley Gentle in particular, who's trying to move up on the bike. It's a very, very tight bike course, so to get past people and move up into a position where you can capitalise is very, very difficult.
Yeah, it requires you to take risks, and that's what we want from Super League Triathlon. And I don't know if you've even seen a spot yet for it where you would consider passing, but there's not that many.
No, there's not that many at all. I mean, there's this nice straightaway that they are on right now, but you do quickly approach this area that is called Thunder Alley, and you transfer back onto some cobbles. So you're with all the corners and constantly changing surfaces. There's a lot to think about out there.
Yeah, there are points where the course narrows considerably as well, and those barriers have legs that are just casually sticking out there to keep you focused as well. Sophie Colwell coming in to transition for the second time, so she'll be hitting her 3rd lap now, and she looks very comfortable. We'll get a chance to see the splits in just a second and see whether she's actually made up any more time or given herself any more of a gap, but you can see at the top of your screen there the chasing pack.
They're going to have to commit here, Will, because if she leads off this bike, she gets to execute the short chute again, which is a bigger advantage, I think, on the run section than it is on the bike. So that little gap has allowed her to not have those other girls on her wheel. She's a very, very strong biker, very, very astute on the bike, and they're going to have to close these gaps if they want to win this event.
15 seconds between 1st and 15th, and that'll all be paid in stage 3. They have to recover with 10 minutes and go straight into another race and then another. But right now it's Colwell out front. Emma Jeffcoat, who briefly led and was a great domestique, if you like, for Ashley Gentle, and allowed her, well, helped her at least to win the grand final in the Gold Coast 2 weeks ago. We know how strong she is on the bike, the Australian, and she is trying to close that gap on Sophie Colwell, who comes through the roundabout of peril, and she looks more comfortable this time. She gets a look back, puts her head up and sees the chasing pack, maybe just taking a couple of seconds out of her. Rachel Clammer at the back of that first group of chasers, and they're strung out. Not too much of a headwind, but you can see that gap is no longer 8 seconds.
No, they've gotten together and thought, okay, we need to chase Sophie down here. Maybe, hopefully one of them realized, yeah, she comes in first again into T2. She's going to get that short chute, and sort of almost before they know it, Sophie's going to have this nice little buffer going into round 2. But I can see on the front of that little chase group is Georgia Taylor-Brown.
Emma Jeffcoat right there.
Yep.
And Desiree Ridner. Katie Zafaris is right there as well. I'm surprised to see how far back. I'm not really surprised is Ashley Gentle, who's come off 2 wins. She won that WTS Grand Final 2 weeks ago. She won in Beijing. She's in sizzling form. And a poor swimmer set her out of play here.
Yeah, well, Ashley, she's not the strongest of swimmers. She always has to play a little bit of catch up. She's an incredible rider, so she will be making her way through the field. But of course, as we mentioned, on this tight course and the short duration of the bike, it's incredibly difficult to make up 15 seconds. But the one person I'm trying to pick out to see is, where has Vicky Holland gone?
Yeah, she's dropped down actually into 9th position, so she might have had a bit of a moment there, Vicky Holland. At the moment, though, Sophie Colwell is seeing her lead evaporate ahead of Georgia Taylor-Brown there, I think, who's moved up in the field. Emma Jeffcoat, Desiree Ridner, Katie Zafiris, Jodie Stimpson, Rachel Clammer in 7th position, Kirsten Casper, Claire Michelle, and the top 10 rounded out now by Cassandra Beaugrand. A fantastic runner, as is Ashley Gentle. But you talk about the ability for Ash Gentle to run people down. Well, this isn't that kind of racing. If you have 10 kilometres at the end of an Olympic distance race, you can make up a lot of time, and she did that to Lucy Hall in Beijing last week. She had a couple of Ks to make up and ran her down, but this is a completely different type of racing, as now Georgia Taylor-Brown has led the pack that's chased down Sophie Colwell, and the race is 100% on for this short chute on the run now, because they're on the 4th of 4 bike laps, and any of these women could cross that dismount line first and take the opportunity for the run, short, shoot, and maybe a win in the opening stage of Triple Mix and the opening stage of this season as well. And look at them all. A bunch of probably now about 6 or 7, maybe 8 riders coming in, and they know exactly what the carrot is at the end of this ride, don't they?
Without question. We'll see how they tactically play this. George has come right up on the back of Sophie, whether she'll jump her at transition, get that short shoot, because she's a magnificent runner and could set herself up for stage 2. And you know, you get these advantages, you could win this event.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this event's going to be won by seconds, and you got to collect those seconds wherever you can. And something like a short shoot, yeah, take it when you can get it.
Great shots from the aerial cam, and Sophie has got it again. So she's played the smart game. You can see on the left of your screen, Michael Thompson, the head marshal, has given it to Sophie Colwell as she racks her bike. She'll know she's going to have maybe 6 to 8 seconds left as they stream into transition for the final leg, of the first stage. And Sophie Colwell, courtesy of the short shoot, still leads this race. Jodie Stimpson has moved up right behind her, but she's got further to run as Colwell makes the turn. 1.6 kilometres now to go in the first stage of the Triple Mix. And it's Colwell, Stimpson, Taylor Brown. 3 Brits lead in front of this home crowd. Emma Jeffcoat, Desiree Rydner, Rachel Klammer has moved up a position as Katie Zafiris moves down into 7th. Kirsten Casper, Summer Cook, Cassandra Beaugrand. And I do not see the name of Vicky Holland.
She's down in 15th, 15 seconds off. And remember, we have a cumulative time here, so Vicky really has to move up through this field.
That is a huge difference for Vicky Holland. She was in 3rd and has dropped all the way down to 15th. So she'll be paying, will she?
There's Cassandra Beaugrand. She's one of the best runners in the field.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what move she makes through this run. I mean, as we mentioned, it is quite short, but when you're as phenomenal of a runner as Cassandra is, you can definitely take 10 seconds here and there without even breaking a sweat.
Yeah, there is Holland just ahead of Leonie Perriot of France.
But I love this racing from Sophie. I mean, she's just really taken it from, she jumped off that pontoon and was just like, nope, I'm taking this, it's on, and she looks great.
This is what she did last year. This is exactly the rules we implemented this short shoot. She's such a front runner, and Super League racing is all about rewarding aggressive front racing, and she is the quintessential front racer. These girls have to make a move if they want to close down, because seconds count. We have the pursuit start for stage 3. Accumulated times against these first 2 stages. You need to close these gaps.
Stimpson, Jeffcoat and Rydner in a group together. A great run and a great stage overall by Desiree Rydner, the 19-year-old from Canada.
Vicky Holland didn't look too good at all, I must admit. She shook her head as she went around the roundabout. She didn't have that nice flowing run style that she usually has. It has been a long season, and maybe I picked the wrong one for her, because I've never seen her look like that. She's been put under a lot of pressure.
How quickly you jump ship, Chris McCormack.
Just we Australians.
Stay strong.
Now who are you picking? Now that you've seen the first round
I think
go?
I like Sophie Caldwell at the moment.
Okay, great.
I think she just looks spectacular.
That's fantastic. Fair weather fan Chris McCormack. Sophie Caldwell in the lead, the
There's
first
Vicky
of 2
on
laps.
screen.
There she is, and yes, she doesn't look too good. Leonie Perriot behind her.
And Jodie Stimpson on the front of the second group, really closing down her training partner, which is interesting. So these 2 train together, so 1 and 2, both out of Loughborough in the UK, know each other very, very well, and she's dragging a group of 3 girls straight back up to the front to Sophie.
As Sophie Caldwell leads, they're going to turn left. They're on the cobblestones in Thunder Alley into transition. There'll be 1 more lap left on the run. There's some big names down the field as well, no doubt. Joanna Brown's dropped down to 11th. Ashley Gentle currently in 13th, and Vicky Holland in 15th. We go even further down. Charlotte Machine, the Australian, in 18th position. And we rounded out with Vanessa Della Torre in 25th, 1 minute and 21 seconds behind. So she is, along with Claudia Seebock, on the verge of being eliminated based on the 90-second rule. If Sophie Colwell can put some time into them and finish up. And there's Cassandra Beaugrand on the right hand of your screen in the French flag, number 55. She's such a strong runner, the French national sprint triathlon champion. She is a prodigy, no doubt, and she's moved up into 2nd position alongside Jodie Stimpson. Behind her, Georgia Taylor-Brown, Emma Jeffcoat, Summer Cook in the pink. You can see they're 2nd overall last year, and Ashley Gentle has really pulled it out. We know how quick a runner she is. She's pulled herself from 13th up to about 7th, if you don't mind, coming into the last lap here. A big group of girls before they get strung out, turning around at Freedom Tree Corner, but it will be a race for this one, and I guess if they stay in a bunch like this, do they all consider maybe just coming off the gas a little bit, knowing that they've got a mass start coming up or not, or do we want a stage win?
Well, by the looks of it, Cassandra is not keen to stay around with anybody, and I think, you know, this is her strength, so she has to make the most time that she can right here, and I could just see Ashley Gentle trying to close that little gap down. These are the two best runners in the field, and yeah, you got to take those seconds where you can.
Cassandra looks so relaxed. Ash Gentle has been the form runner on the circuit the last 3 weeks or so, and she just looks so relaxed out front, Cassandra. Summer Cook can run as well. So the three best runners are leading this, and Katie Zafaris has found herself at the back of the pack.
At least she's at the back of the lead pack as Cassandra Beaugrand just strides it out. Each of those long legs striding such a long way. There's plenty doing more work behind her to stay in touch. Ashley Gentle second. You can see Summer Cook there in the red jersey. That means she was the run leader last time out in Jersey. That was the only other event the women have had in Super League Triathlon. So she carries that over into this round, if you like. The blue of Sophie Colwell means she was the fastest swimmer, had the fastest swim split last year. And the green we don't see out there because Nicola Spirig isn't joining us, but she was the fastest on the bike.
And Flora, you've raced both these girls. Who do you pick here? Who's the quickest runner, the raw speed? Who's the fastest on foot?
You're going to say Cassandra Beaugrand because she's leading.
Well, she is leading, but she has, I mean, she's kind of really burst on the scene this year. I mean, she won WTS Hamburg. She won by producing this phenomenal run, and so we don't really know too much about her, but she can see, I mean, she's only been able to bring Ashley Gentle with her, and Ashley is one of the best runners. So out of these two, just pure running, I don't know, perhaps Cassandra, but if we had to, you know, it is a triathlon here, and I think Ashley Gentle has the experience and also has the racing experience, the years of it. So
pick one.
All right, I'm going with Ashley.
Oh, what a long answer for no reason. Staying on the fence, Flora Duffy. Cassandra Beaugrand, Finnish national champion, as I said, 21 years of age. She's also the sprint national champion based on her run speed. She was third at the European Championships behind two races that aren't here, Nicola Spirig and Jess Learmonth. And then behind them, Jodie Stimson leads Summer Cook around that corner where it narrows considerably. But here we go. It's a race in two between these two. The more experienced Ash Gentle, 2 wins from 2 weeks. And Cassandra Beaugrand, who's going to be so strong across the full season.
They have dropped the hammer. In the last kilometre, they have really opened up. And these girls they cannot slow down in that second group. They have to minimise the time losses. It's a pursuit start for stage 3. These two are going to have the advantage of potentially grabbing the short shoot, and they could shut the whole day down.
Absolutely correct. These two, at the top of the course, there was nothing between any of them, and Summer Cook looks like she's running at half the speed of Cassandra Beaugrand and Ashley Gentle, who will have a nice little buffer coming into stage 3. Of course, there's plenty of racing to go between now and then, and it looks like it could be Beaugrand. Finally, Flora Duffy gets the answer, and she gets it right as well, does she, Cassandra Beaugrand. 21 years of age, a huge crowd willing her over the line, plenty of French. We're only 5 miles off the coast. There's plenty of French support, and Cassandra Beaugrand wins the first stage of season 2018. Ashley Gentle comes in second, and it's a foot race for third. You can see how much it's taken out of her. 10 minutes now to recover. That's not very much, but it's a lot more when you're 21 years of age. Kirsten Casper looks like she's come in second. Stimson, Cook, Rachel Klammer, our champ, Christy Zafiris, Georgia Taylor-Brown and Emma Jeffcoat. And Coldwell, who led the whole way to hang on to the top 10, has given it everything. Claire Michelle, Leonie Perriot with a good run in the end to come home. But what a race that was, as fast and fierce as we thought it would be, and I guess the running cream rose to the top, didn't it?
There's Vicky Holland, our world champion, crossing the line now, way back, a lot further back than I called at the start of the event. But I think the takeaway for me was just how much faster on foot both Cassandra and Ashley are at the moment. I talked earlier about Ashley being caught out in the swim. She was a long way back, 15 seconds on that bike. And to make that up on a tight circuit like this shows that those two are the form athletes. And you're asking a lot if you're in that second group now to close those gaps. You're going to have to find a way in this next stage to exploit that.
All right, we've only got about 15 seconds left until the 90-second cutoff, so it could be that some of these athletes don't take part in the rest of the triple mix. So the race is on. 10 seconds to go now. 8, 7. These athletes won't know this. Megan Foley there. Elena Danilova, 3, 2, 1. Danilova gets over the line. Potentially Foley does not, and neither does Sarah Alexander, so they might not be able to play any part in the rest of this. We'll await confirmation on that one. Elena Danilova at 1:32. She's out. Megan Foley's out, and Sarah Alexander as well. So we've already lost 3 athletes just after the first stage. That shows you how quick they were at the front.
Yeah, with the 90-second rule, if at any stage in the race you fall more than 90 seconds back, you are out. So they will not be starting stage 2. And it's amazing. I was talking earlier in the day with Jonathan Hall, the national coach of Canada, and I asked who he thought would be very, very competitive today. He thought Ash Gentle would be right up there if she could stay out of trouble in the swim. But he said in a pure run race, in the form she has, Cassandra Beaugrand would be very, very difficult to beat. He was asking the question about how she'd handle this technical bike course. She did it just well, and those two have just decimated this field.
Well, when you're a good coach, you're a good coach. You know how it's going to play out, and that's exactly what happened. Absolute heartbreak for Elena Danilova, the 27-year-old from Russia. 13th in the European Championships this year, but she misses out by 2 seconds, and that is her day's racing done. That is tough to take, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really tough. But I mean, at the same time, I think they were just excited at the opportunity to be here. I know some of them were at the Penticton qualifier, which unfortunately, due to wildfires, they could not race, so they all were awarded slots here. So to be here racing some of the best women in the world, and it's an incredible opportunity.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights. It was a very fast swim, and Sophie Colwell led out of the water. There was plenty of slipping and sliding coming up onto the floating pontoon, and Colwell turned ahead of Jeffcoat, who played a part all the way through this one until the run took it away from everyone. But Sophie Colwell, she looked comfortable on the bike, but I guess being out there on the front the whole time didn't leave her much in the tank for the run. She had the short shoot for the second time around, but it didn't help when they came around the third time. Cassandra Beaugrand in the end too fast and well ahead of Ashley Gentle. We're going to see the results in just a second, but that is the feeling for Cassandra Beaugrand. Relief more than anything. She put plenty into that one, and here are the results. Cassandra Beaugrand, Ashley Gentle 15 seconds ahead of Casper, Stimson, Cook, Clammer, Zafiris, Jeffcoat, Taylor Brown, who played a part as well, and Sophie Colwell, after leading, finishes 24 seconds back. We go back into 11th, Claire Michel, Leonie Perriot, the French woman, Joanna Brown, who was up the front at some point, Vicky Holland ending up the world champion 15th ahead of Reidner, who put it all on the line as well. Kate Woff, Megan Foley came at 1:33, Elena Danilova 1:32, so we won't see them as well. But right now, let's hear from the winner of Stage 1 of season 2018-19. Annie Emerson is with Cassandra Beaugrand.
Cassandra, you made that look very easy.
Not very easy. It's my first time here, so I will see if I can be strong on the three rounds.
How tough is the bike course?
It's a hard bike course because it's a lot of turn-on, and yeah, I will see after.
And a great start with the world champion and the Iranian champion here in Jersey, Katie Zafiris and Vicky Holland behind you.
Yes, they are amazing. So I think they will be stronger after.
Thank you, Cassandra. Have a great race.
No time for tactics whatsoever. Just as they cross the line, we've just recovered from the opening stage of racing, and the girls are outside lining up for stage 2. There's 2.5 minutes to go. The tide all the way out here in Jersey. It's quite amazing in terms of the tidal patterns, but all eyes, as you can see, on stage 2 of the triple mix. There's been so much anticipation across the week here in Jersey. They know how amazing this racing is, and we've seen it already. The girls are already lining up for what will be I can't remember what we're starting with. What are we starting with?
We're starting with the run now. And Flora, how will this go down? Because what we saw then was Sophie Colwell go out so quick in the swim. She's not renowned for her running. She got picked up there. We saw the two with Cassandra and Ashley Gentle off the front in the run. Do they commit again and take a hard run out, or do you see Katie Zafiris move up? What's your call on this?
Yeah, I know. I kind of forgot that this round 2 is starting with a run, and so Cassandra and Ashley kind of get to start off just where they finished. And I mean, with those two, they, like I said, they have to make the most of all of the run segments within this triple mix. So I think they're going to work together again and try to distance themselves as much as they can of the other girls. And the one thing that Cassandra has going for is that Ashley is an incredibly strong cyclist. So if Cassandra can stay with Ashley on the bike, that just is just going to drag them further away from the girls chasing.
And with the swim finish, Cassandra over Ashley.
Yeah, Cassandra is a great swimmer, so then that throws it back into her favor. But we'll see. Some of those girls might have just needed a round to get warmed up, get into it.
I think the takeaway is that we don't really know what is going to happen. This is a mass start once again. The pursuit start is in stage 3, so the smarter of the women out there have put themselves at the front here because it's a mass start for everyone. It just so happens if you didn't manage to get into position quick enough, you're starting at the back of the mass start because there's obviously not enough room for everyone to start in a line. But Ashley Gentle is one of those, as is Cassandra Beaugrand at the far right, alongside Casper, Cook, Jodie Stimson and Rachel Plowman closest to us, and behind her Joanna Brown, who was strong early in stage 1 but fell away. And we're about to start the mass start. Run, bike, swim for stage 2 of the women's triple mix here in Jersey.
Wow, there is a lot of freedom. Geez, I'd like to get George Michaels out here. Hey.
Brown just waking up those thighs.
Very, very good runner, Joanna Brown. Very good runner. She's sitting in the second line, so they're lining up from where they finished in the last race. We're about to start.
And they're off.
Off they go, the mass start. Kate Wolf at the back and Leonie Perriot as well.
Don't know if you noticed, but many of them had their swim cap and goggles tucked in their suits, and many of them are not running with their sunglasses on, and that's just to save as much time as they can in transition area.
Summer Cook, straight to the front. She has to make a move. She has to do something because they gave up, what, 14 seconds in that last stage, and with the short chute, you've got to get across that line first. You could take advantage of that, get an advantage on the bike course and change the whole dynamic of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. If the girls that finished 15 seconds back don't get moving on this round, then they're just sort of letting the race kind of go away from them.
If we encouraged aggressive racing in stage 1, all of them will know, at least outside of Gentle and Beaugrand, that they need to be super aggressive in stage 2. They both have a target on their back, those two, as Holland, you can see on the left of screen, looking to move up a little bit. Cook in the run swimwear from last time. The red colour means she was the fastest run split. Colwell already at the back, and there is Megan Foley bringing up the rear along with Sarah Alexander, who has snuck into the 90 seconds, but
Sophie Chase from the US.
Yeah, we're led right now by Sophie Chase alongside Cook, Casper and Stimson.
Well, she had such a poor first stage. She has to make a move here, and this is what it's all about. I think Jodie Stimson we always expected to be on the front. I think Summer Cook has to do something, but it's Sophie Chase is surprising. She was far way back in that first stage. She's not the greatest of swimmers, even though she comes from a semi-swimming background, but to get to the front and dictate terms, maybe Cassandra and Ashley have committed too much in stage 1.
We shall see. Sophie Chase, the 24-year-old from the USA, one of our qualifiers from our qualifying event in Penticton. She does come from a cross-country background, but that's very different running to what we're experiencing right here. Cassandra Beaugrand in about 5th position, just waiting to see, and you can already see her moving up on the outside as Cook takes the inside line in the red. And Cook, obviously very strong. What she lacks, I guess, in maybe technical bike skills, she makes up for with a huge engine. Former Villanova college athlete. Jodie Stimson, the 2014 Commonwealth Games gold medalist, behind her. And yeah, it is interesting to see the different tactics as well. You mentioned a lot of these girls without the sunglasses on. Casper and Stimson do have the sunglasses on, so plenty of different ideas being put out there for biking off the run. Even Richard Murray, who we'll see in the men's race, thought about velcroing the running shoes to the bike pedals. He's always an out-of-the-box thinker. We'll see if something like that turns up, because SLT is different to any other type of racing. But Summer Cook is your leader. Jodie Stimson putting in the long strides alongside her as the field strings out.
And it was in the second lap that in particular, both Cassandra and Ashley were the strongest. Ashley seems to be a little bit further back than I would have anticipated. Cassandra seems to be quite relaxed, sitting in 5th position, but Jodie Stimson's always on the front, always pushing. Summer Cook, she seems in a rush to get around this left-hand turn.
Stimson has absolutely put on the gas there. She must have had that tactically in her mind, that she wanted to come across this line first, and she's going to do that, and she's going to get the short chute.
No, she's got another lap. It's only
another lap to go, of course. You're You're 100% correct. Just trying to keep up with your innovations, Macca.
But she seems to be very, very committed. I think she's made a commitment to herself to say, look, if I grab this short shoot, I can get a little grab on this bike course, I can relax. I'm not the strongest of swimmers. I'm not a bad swimmer by any means, but I'm not the strongest, and I can set myself up, pull back some of that time I lost in stage 1, and put myself in a position to win the race.
Dragging Summer Cook along with her, and Charlotte McShane back there in about 15th, having a lonely race trying to tag onto that group of runners. Sophie Caldwell, who just came off a tough run, is having another tough run right now. But at the front, it is Jodie Stimpson of Great Britain and Summer Cook of America, and really the two powerhouses of women's triathlon at the moment, the US and the UK.
Look at Ashley here. She's making a move.
We'll see if Cassandra responds, because this is where Ash went on in the last stage. They really committed to this back end of the run course. Very, very fast over the top section, up the climb. They make a left-hander here, and Jodie's staying tight, so is Summer. Katie Zafari's. Vicky's a lot closer this time.
Yeah, so they're all running in quite a big group. It makes you think the pace might not be too hot right now. But as Ashley moves to the front here, I think she is going to try to string it out and create some little gaps going into the bike.
Ashley Jenner looking very calm now as she's gotten into her work somewhat. Joanna Brown to the right of screen, back in about 6th position, but Summer Cook and Jodie Stimpson are staying with the 27-year-old from Australia. Sandra Beaugrand there as well in 4th position ahead of Kirsten Casper. And I think that's the only Perriot who knows that she has plenty of time to make up as well, but Gentle's not showing any ill effects of racing in 3 distant continents in 3 weeks, as a lot of these girls have done, but she's taken the wins in both of the last 2 weeks, and we know how tough triathlon can be on the body. To win 3 weekends in a row is no mean feat, and she's certainly going about doing that to the best of her ability, as Cook responds as well, taking the inside line as she did on the previous lap.
And the French right up near the front, but it'll be interesting to see how this goes down as they make the left-hander off this next straight, to see who takes this short shoot, because I'm interested to see Summer's not giving up anything on Ashley General. I thought Ashley would be more committed here. Jodie Stimpson sitting in really, really comfortably, and Cassandra just looks so relaxed when she runs. She doesn't look to be at any effort at all.
I guess Ashley Gentle knows that she's got a fair bit ahead of her this time. She's not running away to a victory, which she usually is used to. We're right at the start of the 2nd stage of the triple mix, so we still have the bike and the swim to go, and Summer Cook looks like she might lead into transition. They come through Thunder Alley. It's looking beautiful at the moment. It doesn't always end up like that. It was very tough this time last year, but the sun is shining here in St Helier, Jersey. An absolutely perfect day in great conditions for this type of racing, and you can see
Ashley Gentle just off the shoulder, and she's made a move.
Yeah, there we go. There Ashley goes.
And they're both committed to it.
I think Ashley's got her taking the inside corner. Nice, well done, Ashley. Going to get that short shoot, which is,
that's a big advantage for Ash.
Big advantage right now.
It's probably the weakest swimmer here within this group, so this bike advantage will give her that if she can stay away. She's a very, very strong bike rider. We'll do what Sophie did in the last event, take advantage of this short shoot, grab that for the swim short shoot, and set herself up to be in a position that would be very, very difficult to overcome in race 3.
Cook looks to have had a good transition. She is out. Gentle comes out ahead of her. Beaugrand, but also Leonie Perriot comes out 2nd. So straight onto the bike and straight through the short shoot. Ashley Gentle. Perriot leads them around the bottom and the Freedom Tree corner here at a packed far end of the course here in Jersey. Huge crowds lining this course and enjoying this women's racing, and enjoying right now the effort from Ashley Gentle, who leads from Perriot, Cassandra Beaugrand, Kirsten Casper, Sophie Chase, Jodie Stimpson, and Vicky Holland is up in 7th and only 6 seconds back after that run. She knows she can't afford to leak any more time. Casper just adjusting her shoes as she comes up off the rise and past the great graffiti wall that the athletes and some local artists have been adding to across the week here in Jersey.
There we go. Ashley's going for it.
The one interesting takeaway there, without question, is Summer Cook with a very tardy transition. She was 2nd off that run and last out of transition. And in this style of race, you just cannot give up. She's at the back of the pack here.
You're right. She looked good into transition, and I called her well, but it turned out that she was far behind, and the lag on the screen was too much for me.
Yeah, very, very tardy. And that's the interesting thing about this racing. When you look at the different disciplines, you can be out by 3 or 4% between the athletes, but in a transition, transition, there's an 80 to 90% spread, you know, a 5-second transition as opposed to a 10-second transition for others. And to make that up over 2 kilometres is very, very difficult to do.
The ratio of transitions to racing is much higher in Super League Triathlon. There's 6 transitions, and compared to the distances we have, you have to be absolutely spot on. Tomorrow there'll be 8 transitions from 9 legs, so continuously there's plenty of seconds to be lost. As Rachel Klemmer, who seems to have lost touch a little bit with that pack, she looked like she was struggling a little bit on the second lap of the run to stay in contention. The Olympian from the Netherlands. But right out in front and with plenty of fresh air behind her is Ashley Gentle, who has looked so strong. She looks so fit at this stage of the season. Body management, I guess, when we get to September in a long season, is a big thing for her.
Yeah, I mean, well, Ashley, I think, you know, she started the year, she had Commonwealth Games in April, and I think that was a big goal, and perhaps didn't quite go the way she's wanted, so sort of had to regroup and worked her way throughout the year and has really just come to form here in September. I mean, she has won her last 2 races and is looking good here, and I think highly motivated after a few disappointing months there in the middle of the season.
Did you bring your Commonwealth Games gold medal to show off to us all here? Just thought you mentioned the Com Games that you won?
Yeah, no, that's at home, somewhere in a box.
But she's very committed, Ash. Huh? She's a very, very strong bike rider. We see her in a lot of the longer Olympic distance events, especially in Australia, being an Australian at Noosa. Very, very strong on the bike. She seems to ride a lot better on her own than she does in a group. And she's really taken advantage of the short shoot, probably more so than Sophie did in the previous stage. And not renowned as a fantastic swimmer, but she's going to have to lead for the first time in a swim in a long time, which will be very interesting to see.
Having come up with the short shoot, is it how you expected it to be in terms of the way athletes are using it and the gaps that are created?
I must admit, in stage 1, I looked at it quite anxiously, going, oh, you know, knowing the way Sophie races, I thought it might be a complete and utter shutdown, but it actually worked very, very well, and I'm loving what I'm seeing right now. Not because I'm an Australian, but Ashley Gentle has just had a magnificent back end to her season. I know she was very disappointed after the Commonwealth Games. She was expecting a lot more from herself, so I'd love to see her, you know, do really, really well here.
These women really digging deep as they head into, I guess, the toughest part of the triple mix. You can't quite see the end, but you're a long way from the beginning, and that's when you really need to dig deep. And Ashley Gentle, head down, is doing exactly that as she comes through transition once again.
And Jodie Stimson on the back. There doesn't seem to be a lot of urgency in the chase down of the second group. Stimson's been doing a lot of the work, but everybody seems quite content to sit off. And I'm wondering if that's a question around Ash's swimming. She's not renowned, as you know, as you would probably agree, Flora, for the swim. Cassandra Bograd, a fantastic swimmer, is sitting quite comfortably in that second group.
No, she's not renowned for her swimming, but at the same time, it is only 300 meters, and she comes off that with an 8-second gap. And I believe if she's first off of the bike, does she also get a short shoot into the swim?
She does. She gets the advantage as she runs down off the pontoon. She'll jump from position 1, another short shoot, okay, which gives her about a good body length advantage, and it'll be interesting. I think.
Yeah,
you know, usually, I was always a weaker swimmer, so I hate to be in a position where I actually had to lead a swim. I was always used to following the bubbles, so it'll be interesting to see how Ash handles this. I'd love to see her win this stage, because I remember in Hamilton Island when we saw the men's race there, it was the swimmers that really dominated this, and Ash, as a runner and as an all-rounder, I'd love to see this stage.
Ashley Gentle leading at the moment from Jodie Stimson, Kirsten Casper there as well. Leonie Perriot, who's having a great second stage compared to her first stage. Joanna Brown of Canada as well. Vicky Holland is up in 6th. Down in 12th position, currently 12 seconds behind, is Katie Zafiris, our 2017 champion, ahead of Rachel Klemmer and Summer Cook, who, as you said, probably lost about 10 to 12 seconds in that transition. But Ashley Gentle, she's coming to this week especially relaxed, has dealt with the jet lag from coming from China quite well, and has really enjoyed her week thus far, and just seems very, very relaxed and very happy at this stage of the season. I guess that's what winning does for you. I wouldn't know personally, but I imagine if you win things, you're relaxed.
Yeah, I think she's got a nice confidence about her. She's coming off 2 wins, and I think, yeah, she's been very, as you mentioned, relaxed and just happy to be here and taking part in all the various activities that have been going on throughout the week and taking it all in her stride. And you can see that reflecting in her racing, just grasping at any opportunity she's given.
She's really, really committed on this bike. We saw her make that move on Summer Cook in the first run section, took the short shoot, committed from the beginning of this bike course, has had her head down the entire way, and just been able to have those clean lines, which must be a big advantage through those, there's 7 turns per course lap.
She currently is 7 seconds ahead of Joanna Brown, who leads Casper and Stimson a further second back. And there's a bunch more with as part of that group. Perriot, Holland, Taylor Brown, Cassandra Beaugras 10 seconds back, and Katie Zafiris, who has moved up into the back of that group as well. But at the moment, Ashley Gentle will now get a look, having successfully negotiated the roundabout at the gap she has created, and you can see the chasing pack coming down to attack the roundabout now. And there's quite a group of them who will be all heading into the water, but it looks like Ashley Gentle will get the best shot at it and the short shoot into the swim if she can keep her head down and hold on in this bike. Can she hold them off on the swim start, or who will rise to the top from this group? We know there's some fantastic swimmers amongst them, including Cassandra Beaugras.
This has to be the most difficult thing you can possibly do in triathlon or in multi-sport racing, is swimming after you've run and biked. You have all the blood in your legs. You're now asking the body to throw the blood in the arms, and you've got your head underwater, so it's very, very difficult to breathe. It's one of the most difficult things you can do, and it tends to suit the swimmers with perfect technique and exploit those weaker swimmers who tend to struggle with technique.
Yeah, it feels absolutely horrible. And not to mention the water here, it's a little chilly, 17 degrees, so that's also going to be a bit of a shock to the body when you dive in.
It's nice here in the commentary box, though, isn't it? You're happy
Very
to
nice.
be here.
I'm finally warm.
Ashley Gentle crosses the dismount line first. She will get the short shoot, and she will try to swim it home here. She is out a lovely transition. She's got the swim cap and goggles, and she'll try to put those on whilst running down a steep ramp too. And Joanna Brown was second in and second out ahead of Jodie Stimson. Perriot is there. Casper Beaugras, who you'd have to back, and right behind Cassandra Beaugras and hoping to get a drag along too is Vicky Holland, who knows that she has work to do. So Gentle there, you can see, whilst bikers are still coming in into the turnaround and down the ramp.
Sophie Caldwell's given herself a lot to do. If she can do it right now in the swim, but she's got a lot to do with that run opening in this second stage. She's a long way back.
Desiree Ryder in the white, fastest in transition of any women. Of any woman, is that right, Macca?
Yeah,
fastest in transition of any woman in triathlon, and she'll need all the time she can get. You can see how steep that ramp is from that shot there, but they all seem to have got down it okay. And Ash Gentle gets the short shoot straight into the water. And the first part will be a lonely swim as she tries to bring this one home in stage 2 of the opening race of the opening round of Super League Jersey. Super League 2018. We head to Malta and Mallorca after this, and then the grand finale in Singapore. Check superleaguetriathlon.com for all the details. And this is the wide angle from which everyone else has to try to swim Ashley Gentle down over 300 metres. She hasn't taken the time to look back at any point. She was very solid second place in the opening stage if you're just joining us. And that was only about 20 minutes ago. And there you can see the gap as she heads past the first buoy and out to the far buoy, where they'll turn left and come across in front of a whole lot of boats that I could never hope to afford.
Caldwell's in the water.
There's a big gap there between Sophie Caldwell and the pack that chased Gentle. There is Ashley Gentle with about, I'd say, maybe around 20 metres. It's held fairly steady through the opening part of this swim. It's maybe starting to lose a bit now as Caldwell tries to drag along. 3 behind her, but she's got plenty of work to do. And just a reminder that anyone who finishes more than 90 seconds behind in the accumulated times from stage 1 and stage 2 will not take part in stage 3. And already we saw people like Vicky Holland halfway through that after stage 1, 45 seconds back, so she might not play a part in stage 3 if she doesn't hustle out there. She's part of that big group you can see about to turn at the top buoy, right there next to Flora's boat at the top of the screen.
That is not my boat.
They've closed a lot of the gap down. Ashes, it's always better to be in a position of chasing in the second swim. You can look up, you can spot the person in front, and they've closed down now. You're halfway through the swim. That gap has been shut right down. I'm trying to see who that is. It's on the front. It looks like Jodie dived in, but
Yeah, they're really swimming well. They've shut that gap down incredibly quickly. You can get a sighting on a number there.
it looks like Joanna Brown, is it?
I think it is Joanna Brown there alongside her. I'm not quite sure who that was, but you can see the gap has been shut down, and here is a group who'll be aiming for a stage win. There's Ashley Gentle, who's seen her lead evaporate to practically nothing. Brown was there, Stimson, Perriot, Casper and Beau Brown as well.
I think that might be Kirsten Casper right here closest to the camera, and then maybe Cassandra Beaugrand, who's swimming alongside Kirsten Casper. They're both about to just overtake Ashley Gentle right now.
Gentle's so close.
Yep, there they go.
And just as she can see the pontoon,
no.
she can see people on both sides of her, and you're right, that was Casper, who only really started triathlon back in 2014 and by 2017 was 4th in the world, and that is a steep curve by anyone's estimation. A great athlete in other disciplines before that.
What's going to be difficult here is the swim exit. We have a run to the finish. It's very, very tight up that ramp, a very, very steep ramp. So it's going to get congested when you're running through and you're trying to commit to win this stage. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, this long run from the swim exit to the finish line is almost like another round added to this race.
Just with about, I don't know, 15 litres of lactic acid coursing through your body.
It's just what you want.
Yeah, there's going to be some wobbly legs as we come up onto the pontoon after this type of racing and how hard it has been. And it is Gentle, Casper and Beaugrand neck and neck and neck as they come up onto the pontoon. They're going to be running up that ramp to the right of your screen, taking a hard turn through transition, and we'll see who can win stage 2 and who gets eliminated by being more than 90 seconds back. That is the question. But right now, 3 women.
Cassandra on the outside, longer run in. It's Katie. It's that was Kirsten Casper, I think, who's got out first on the far side. Summer Cook had a fantastic swim.
She needed to as well after finding herself 15 or so seconds back. Sophie Chase, who led early, and Claire Michelle as well, leads a group of about perhaps 15 athletes who'll run up this incredibly steep ramp, turn into transition. And it is Beaugrand once again, Casper in second position, and Georgia Taylor-Brown ahead of a gap to Ashley Gentle, Jodie Stimson, Emma Jeffcoat, amongst others. Summer Cook and Katie Zafiris there as well, but I'd be very surprised if anyone could run down Cassandra Beaugrand from here.
She doesn't seem to even breathe. She looks so controlled, so comfortable. The minute she's on foot, she just gaps the rest of the field. She's going to win stage 2. As
well, she's going to win stage 2 as well. Cassandra Beaugrand, the 21-year-old, is going to go back-to-back stage 1 and stage 2 here in the triple mix. What a race from the French woman. Second position, Georgia Taylor-Brown ahead of Kirsten Casper. Joanna Brown, Ashley Gentle, Jodie Stimson, Katie Zafiris, Leonie Perriot, Emma Jeffcoat, Summer Cook, Vicky Holland as well, and Claire Michelle. We'll get an update on the timings very soon.
That says it all.
Yep, Sophie Chase gave everything to that one. And Sophie Colwell, who led the opening 2 legs of the first stage before being run down. Wears the blue, courtesy of having the fastest swim split in 2017 here in Jersey. And she needed all of that pace to stay within the 90-second range.
We're going to have a lot of eliminations come stage 3. There's a lot of girls here on the accumulated time. They'll be more than 90 seconds back. They will not start stage 3.
McShane and Ryden across. Ryden are in the white as a young athlete. And another young athlete, Kate Woff as well, coming in front of a home crowd. And the going is very tough out there. You can see that on the faces of our athletes. There is Ashley Gentle, who dominated such long parts of that race. And she looks exhausted.
She does. You could see her face when she was running, you know, from the swim exit to the finish line, and just how much the 2 stages have taken a toll on her, and leading the bike like that. And yeah, it looks just absolutely brutal out there.
We've hit the 90-second mark, and we'll give you an update on people who didn't make it across the line and won't take part in stage 3 of Pursuit Start. Ashley Gentle is down, warming down and then warming back up again for stage 3, and Annie Emerton is with her.
Ashley, that was a great bike. Was that your tactics going into it?
I have no tactics. I've never done this before. So it is what it is. I actually think I'm going to regret all of that in this one, because I feel a bit faint, to be honest.
Okay, tell me, how do your arms feel when you dive into the swim? I know the swim is your least favourite of the 3 sports, but that swim for all of you must have been tough.
It's actually really cold. Like every time I dive in, don't really like it. It's very chilly in there. But, you know, I've just got to do the best I can and keep the arms moving. And, yeah, I thought those girls might catch me, but I just really tried to focus on myself, but it was quite hard.
On a positive note, you're about to start the next stage with the bike, which is your strength.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that, but still have to swim and run as well, so I'll see how the body holds up.
Great stuff. Good luck, Ashley.
That is fantastic. I have no tactics. I have never done this before. I'm just doing my best out there, and she certainly did that, Ashley Gentle, as we look back across stage 2, and it happened so quickly. Jodie Stimpson led early on the run, but it was Ashley Gentle who took the short shoot after leading across the dismount line, and she made the most of that and led all the way through, got the short shoot again on the swim, and she was so close to bringing this one home before the superior swimming of Kirsten Casper and Cassandra Beaugrand, alongside a host of others, managed to track her down, and Cassandra Beaugrand won stage 2 here in Jersey just as she won stage 1. She just looks so comfortable, and she's really stamping her authority on the early moments of Super League Triathlon. On debut as well, was not here in Jersey last year, so the lack of experience not hurting her at all. What a year Georgia Taylor-Brown has had. It has been absolutely fantastic, and it continues. We are up to stage 3 of the triple mix. That means that it is bike, then swim, and finish with a run. And every second that you've fallen behind the leaders in stage 1 and 2 will be paid for in a pursuit start, which means that Cassandra Beaugrand of France, having won stage 1 and stage 2, will start on the bike first. 9 seconds back to Ashley Gentle and 20 seconds back to Kirsten Casper. So big gaps to pay for, and Cassandra Beaugrand is in the box seat, you'd think, to take this one out.
Without question, I might, as I said earlier, I question whether she should be committed on this bike. It's a new position for her to be in. She's going to be alone. Does she like to ride on her own? She seemed to be sitting back very comfortably in the group, always following wheels, and this is a completely different position for her to be in.
An update once again on the different colours that the women are wearing out there. The young athletes under the age of 20 are in white, and you can see one there, number 17, Desiree Rydener. Red athlete is Summer Cook. She is the fastest on the run split from Jersey 2017. Sophie Caldwell in the blue was our fastest swimmer, and she needed all of that, having finished a little bit back off the bike and into the swim in the last stage, as they line up again for stage 3, and the first across the line will be our winner, and you'd be hard-pressed to go past Cassandra Beaugrand, who has proved herself the prodigy that we all thought she was, Macca.
Without question. She came in as one of the favourites. There was a lot of talk about her coming in, and speaking to her during the week, she felt very, very confident. She said she's in great form. She had the French Grand Prix event last week, and she's just been amazing today. But how this will start now is they're going to run in, they have to transition, so there can be some time lost. We saw Summer Cook in that last race have a diabolical transition from second into last out, so it's transitioning under pressure that makes the big difference. So these girls who are a fair way back have to get onto that bike, into the shoes, and out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I can see a few of them standing there, lining up as they're about to start, shivering a little. So that's another factor here. I mean, the sun is out, but there is a cool breeze, and you are diving into pretty cold water, and so staying warm is definitely, crucial to this. And a few that are shivering, that's worrying me a little bit on how they're going to perform.
Cassandra's off.
17 degrees in the water. The splits have started, and Cassandra Beaugrand will be the first person onto the bike, and she's got a nice little gap to play with, 9 seconds back, and Ashley Gentle is the second off. Next up will be Kirsten Casper, 11 seconds further back, and it's a really nervous wait watching your rivals disappear out in front of you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. I think these girls that are 20 sort of to 25 seconds back really need to figure this out. How are they going to get themselves back into the race, and how are they going to beat Cassandra?
We just saw Summer Cook and Katie Zafiris take off there a fair way back, and they were 1 and 2 in Jersey. A long wait for Leonie Perriot, Claire Michelle behind her, but already on the bike and up the first little incline is Cassandra Beaugrand, and behind her, that's Ashley Gentle at the top of your screen.
She'll stay committed. Ashley will chase after Cassandra the entire way here. That's the only way Ash knows how to race. It'll be interesting to see the girls who are back. There's going to form a group. These two are alone up in front. They either get together and work together, and these three back here need to move up together and start swapping turns.
Yeah, Georgia Taylor-Brown and Jodie Stimpson, they're both really great riders, and they when they do get together, they do commit nicely. So hopefully they can do that and get themselves back up to the front there. You can see Katie desperately trying to get herself up to that group of 3.
It's a stiff headwind right up this climb here. They're coming straight up into a strong easterly. It's right in their face. They make the left turn at the top, and they'll get a slight headwind crosswind. So right now, Cassandra's got the wind on her back.
Ashley Gentle will know that she can't let Cassandra Beaugrand get too far ahead, but at the moment she's really putting it in on the bike and knows that if she has any sort of a gap coming out of the swim and into the run, she knows that she can run it home. Next up will be the swim, but before that, 3 more laps on the bike. And they've all negotiated this quite well. We saw plenty of accidents in Jersey 2017, but fingers crossed, maybe I've given them the commentator's curse. It's been clean so far.
I get the feeling Cassandra's actually opened the gap on Ashley, which is a surprise. She looks a bit tired, Ashley Gentle. I just saw her face there. Cassandra looks very, very comfortable.
So we can just see Kate Wolf and Charlotte McShane getting lapped there, as will Desiree Rydner, and they should actually be eliminated from this race. And
they are. I saw the race referee just pull them off the course.
Desiree Rydner is in danger of that happening as well right now. Beaugrand just behind her. But 90 seconds have gone past. That's how long it's taken for Desiree Rydner to get around the course, and she looks like she's put a little bit more time into Ashley Gentle, and she looks comfortable out there, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does look very comfortable. Kind of almost how she runs.
We keep saying that. We keep saying that all the time, but she just does.
It's starting to freak me out a little bit.
Don't worry. You've got plenty of time to come back. Everything will be fine. We can see out the front of the window where we're sitting some of our eliminated competitors watching on with interest. Megan Foley, Vanessa Della Torre, and Sarah Alexander just getting a bird's eye view, if you like. Front row position for watching this.
Here comes Ashley. Let's see if we can get a split, see what's happening there at the front.
I think Cassandra is just so fit at the moment. She's been comfortable. She looks so magnificent on the run, but this bike ride's really, really impressed me. I think more than anything, she split the field here. She's definitely moving away. She's alone. Even the girls back in just behind Ash, they're definitely losing time.
Yeah, she's putting everyone under pressure, and she is going around this bike course very nicely, taking the corners well, and you know, the thing is she just has to get through the bike, and then she heads on to her 2 strengths, the swim and the run.
And she'll grab a short shoot. She's first off the bike. She grabs a short shoot going into the swim, which is a huge advantage as a swimmer.
Absolutely. I keep forgetting about that short shoot, and every time it's just like, yeah, crazy how much of an advantage it's turning out to be.
After the first lap, she'd actually increased to 12 seconds gap between herself and Ashley Gentle. Further 7 seconds back to Georgia Taylor-Brown, and a second back then to Kirsten Casper. But if she can keep putting time into Ash Gentle.
Here comes Jody. Like she's trying to make a move.
Surprised they're not working together, the group of 3 behind. Jody sort of dropped them. It might be an element of fatigue, but no, I think it looks from I'm interested to see in the men's race as well that being alone around these tight circuits plays an advantage. The groups don't seem to work very well together. They can't organise themselves. They can't close those gaps. That being said, Ash looks under a lot of pressure now.
There's Georgia Taylor-Brown bridging up to her, and I mean, I guess, yeah, look, I don't think Georgia's going to stop to try and work with Ashley. I think she's just going to go blow higher and has her sights set on Cassandra.
An update on the splits as they stand. Cassandra Beaugrand of France now 10 seconds as they went through that transition from Ashley Gentle, who's a further 3 seconds ahead of Georgia Taylor-Brown. So Gentle has stopped the rot, if you like. It's certainly not getting bigger. It was 12 seconds, then into 10 seconds. And on her back wheel, you can see there Georgia Taylor-Brown, who'll be hoping to stay with Gentle and get dragged up towards Cassandra Beaugrand, who still stands good chance of finishing this day as a triple mix winner. Jodie Stimpson a further 3 seconds back ahead of Kirsten Casper. Katie Zafiris another second behind from Emma Jeffcoat, and then it's 10 seconds further back to Rachel Clammer and another 8 to Summer Cook. So the field stringing out as the fatigue setting in here in the triple mix. This is the 7th discipline that the women have encountered with not really much of a break at all over the course of the last hour or so of racing, and it's starting to really show who's in form and who isn't at this stage of the season. And there is your leader. She's won 2 from 2 stages, and she is well in control. The last lap of the bike, you can hear the bell ringing, and Cassandra Bogra, the 21-year-old, gets a look right now at where Ashley Gentle is.
It's been an amazing performance by Cassandra. Yeah, Georgia looks fantastic. But it's been an amazing performance by Cassandra. She is just... This field is probably the best field assembled since the World Cup for the World Championship final, and she's just dominated. She hasn't grabbed one short shoot at all. She's dominated over the girls who have grabbed the short shoot. So it's going to be in this last race where it matters that she takes advantage of the short shoot. I think it's going to be a shutdown. I don't see any of these girls making up any of the distances, and if the boys are watching this, they need to see the advantage this plays and how to win these sort of events.
Ashley Gentle dropping back through the field now. She said she'd probably have to pay for it in stage 3, and it looks like she is starting to pay for it after 3 laps on the bike. She's now dropped into, I think, about 5th or 6th position, and the same is not happening to Cassandra Bogra. Maybe Ashley's just raced a little bit more than Cassandra over the past couple of weeks, and she also has about, I think, 6 years on it in terms of fast twitch muscle fibre. And she's playing the game though here too. She's starting to think about the fact that she needs to have a fast transition, make sure she can step straight out of those shoes. Maybe 3 more turns until she comes into transition. Grabs the short chute on the swim before we finish with the run, and we know how strong she is on the run. There is Ashley Gentle, just ahead of Kirsten Casper, who just knows how to hang in there in these formats, as she does in Olympic distance racing.
The Georgia Taylor Brown really closed the gap down there, and well, if it's not for this short shoot, she could really try to get onto Cassandra's shoulder here, but Cassandra's going to take the short shoot and extend her advantage.
That is demoralising, isn't it, after you do the work to get up on the back wheel or nearly, and then
who thinks of these short shoots?
Evil guy sitting alongside us. There is Cassandra Bogra. She'll know that it's short shoot time.
She'll take that advantage. She gets to jump in at position number 2 on the pontoon, where the others have to jump in at position number 20. So it's a good 3-second advantage here. And we saw in the last stage how good she was in the water. So, and she's by far the fastest on foot. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the others.
I'd say that the run short shoot would be maybe the biggest advantage, then the bike short shoot, then the swim. Would you agree?
I think the swim one plays a significant advantage. We'll see a lot. I think we'll see that more so in the men's race than we have today. I think the big spread in the women's racing is the difference in the swimming ability. But Cassandra's ability to run so well and swim so well has really shown that in this style of racing, they're the 2 elements that you need to hold to be very, very competitive.
Bogra looks like she's just jogging down the pontoon on the way to get a morning coffee. Looks so easy, and into the water she goes, and she has a far straighter shot to the buoy, 150 metres up the harbour than the rest, and Georgia Taylor Brown will lead them into the water, and I think was that Zafiris and Casper as well. So Katie Zafiris.
Yeah, Katie Zafiris, she's coming through.
Coming back,
just as
maybe
I suspected,
Mac will jump back on the bandwagon, will he?
I've always liked Katie. I picked her to be very, very good today. She's come off a fantastic season.
No, but look, Katie's also an incredibly strong swimmer, and I think you saw last year, you know, she won, but she was stronger towards the end, and it almost seems like it doesn't really phase her in the water. I mean, look at her, she's powering through, and I would say maybe even decreasing that gap to Cassandra a little bit.
It really looks like it, and it shows, I guess, because as you age, you get a lot stronger, your strength endurance is there, you tend to be more like a diesel engine, and we may see a lot more of Katie tomorrow in the enduro format, because we've got to recover tonight from this intensive racing and come back up and race at 100% tomorrow in what's probably the toughest format.
We know that Cassandra Bogra was 9 seconds ahead of Ashley Gentle, and there was only 3 within 20 seconds overall when they started this thing. And if you look at the splits heading into the swim start, she's just 6 seconds ahead of Georgia Taylor Brown. And then you've got Jodie Stimpson 7 seconds, Katie Zafiris, who must have put 20 seconds into Cassandra Bogra in terms of catching up, as
You're right,
and
she
Ashley
did,
Gentle
yeah.
as well, who's been put back into 5th position. So over that first bike leg, Katie Zafiris is 20 plus seconds faster, but she just started so far back, having paid that in the first 2 stages. So maybe do we see Cassandra Bogra gets swum down here, or can't see her getting run down. I just don't know how this is going to play out, and that is the beauty of Super League Triathlon.
Well, the fatigue starts to kick in now. She's a young athlete. She doesn't have that strength endurance, as I said earlier, and Katie does. So if she gets swum down and put a little bit of pressure on her, it could change the dynamic of her run.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is sort of Katie. I think Katie knows that this happens. This is her style of racing. So I don't think she would have been too particularly phased about losing a bit of time earlier in the first round. But I don't think she would have loved to lose that amount. But no, she finds her groove. She settles in and she just slowly chips away. And before you know it, she's running on your shoulder. And before you know it, she's sort of distancing you a little bit. So yeah, we'll be able to see if she can do that to Cassandra.
Such is the ever-changing face of Triple Mix and of Super League Triathlon. It was about 7 minutes ago that we all thought that there's no way anyone could catch Cassandra Beaugrand, and she would go coast to coast from stage 1 to stage 3, and now we feel like maybe that might not be the case, but we'll see. We know how good a runner she is. If she can hold off the chasing pack, who are putting in every effort to try and chase her down right at the moment.
And Cassandra, for leading the swim out, will get a short shoot again.
She will.
Correct?
She
yeah,
will.
so see, that's... Oh, man, this short shoot.
Well, this is the commitment. That's why the girls in second, third have had to commit to the closing down this gap, and that's why the whole principle behind the short shoot was created. If Katie can shut this down, run past her in the run up to the when she gets a short shoot, it could open this race right up.
Absolutely, and I think that's definitely going through Katie's mind. I think it's clicked in that, hey, she's right back in this race. She's got to fight for every second now.
I think she had a slip too, Cassandra Beaugrand. She got out the last time, needed a hand out, so she'll be thinking, don't slip, don't slip, don't slip, as we get onto the pontoon. Every second completely precious, as we have 2 laps to decide on the run who will be our Triple Mix champion and take the full complement of championship points. And it's been such brutal racing, exactly as we would have hoped, as the hand goes out from the official, and Cassandra Beaugrand hopes that she can get up the run first. She manages to do it cleanly.
Here comes Katie.
Next out of the water, Katie Zafiris, who has put so much time on the rest of the field, coming from about 6th or 7th. I think that was Kirsten Casper out of the water. There is Georgia Taylor-Brown on the left.
Jodie Stimpson. Yeah, Kirsten Casper is having a great race. She's also dragged back a bunch of times, because they all started about 20 seconds to 25 seconds behind. And there goes Katie.
She gets a short shoot.
She's got it.
She's got the short shoot.
Got the short shoot.
Katie Zafiris, our 2017 champion, denied by Vicky Holland in the World Championship Olympic distance racing 2 weeks ago. She has a little stumble putting her shoe on, but we know how good her run can be, and she'll get the short shoot. Cassandra Beaugrand, just a vast gulf in age and experience between these two, and now
this is going to change the dynamic of the race. Katie Zafiris right now committed to that swim. She looked tired as she took that short shoot. Cassandra the fastest on foot in the last 2 stages. This opens this race right up, and it's exactly why we invented it.
This is shaping up for a brilliant finish. Macca just congratulating himself for putting the short shoot in, and good for him.
Well done, Chris, well done.
Says that every morning into the mirror. And gee, hasn't it been working? Zafiris and Beaugrand.
Yeah, this puts pressure on Cassandra. It gives Katie, I mean, obviously she's not just going to slow up, but it gives her a moment to catch her breath, compose herself before she starts this 2K run.
Cassandra's obviously fatigued. She's a fantastic swimmer, but to give up that kind of time, she had, what, 9 or 10 seconds going into that swim, to lose that over 300 metres in the swim, with the swim ability she has. She's obviously fatigued. Katie comes into her element now. She's like a diesel engine. She's showing her strength, and we saw this last year in stage 3 last year in both the Eliminator and in the Triple Mix. She dominated.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, all the racing that I've done with Katie, if I come off the bike with her, I know that it might maybe take her a lap to find her groove, but once she does, she is coming. And so you really have to try to break her early, and if you can't, then yeah, she gets into her rhythm, and she's almost unstoppable.
Katie Zafiris, our leader, the master of consistency. She didn't win a World Triathlon Series race in 2018, and yet came into the final race in the Gold Coast thanks to 5 podiums with a 34-point lead. Of course, 2nd overall. She wants a win. She has not had a win all year, and she wants a win. Kirsten Casper in 3rd, who is so consistent, and consistency is key across these different formats, but the gap may be narrowing just slightly Cassandra Beaugrand, youth versus experience in this one. 29 years old, Katie Zafiris. 21 years old, Cassandra Beaugrand. Coming from very different places to Super League Triathlon Jersey. And it looks like maybe Beaugrand is just reaching that gap a little bit. Kirsten Casper in third. And again, Beaugrand just looks like she's jogging.
And this is where she was spectacular with Ashley Gentle in stage one. The second loop of this run course, she seems to find her legs. She opens up her stride and she really put the hammer down, and they opened up with 10 seconds in stage one. So she seems to be finding a rhythm. The question's going to be asked of Katie now, do I go with this move?
It looks like she's putting in a bit of a surge. She just went by Katie there.
Casper a fair way back, and Cassandra Beaugrand is giving Katie Zafiris deja vu from 2 weeks ago. Just as she thought she got a little lead, a response. Not from Vicky Holland this time, but from Cassandra Beaugrand, who won stage one and stage two. If you're just joining us, there is one more lap on the run to decide our women's triple mix champion in Jersey. Who is going to take the championship points? $20,000 US on the line for the winner across the weekend, and $100,000 US for the winner across the series. And Cassandra Beaugrand looks like she's in the box seat right now to take the championship lead. Katie Zafiris has responded. She's staying with Beaugrand. She's staying with her pace. She knows there's just one more lap to go. Kirsten Casper trying to hold off Ashley Gentle, and the pain on her face. Jodie Stimson so consistent, as has been Georgia Taylor Brown. Another debutante in Super League. There is Casper. She'll have to dig deep to hold on, as is Katie Zafiris, to stay on the heels of Cassandra Beaugrand. Up the incline, out of transition for the last time. Ashley Gentle 25 seconds back in fourth position, and 4 seconds ahead of Taylor Brown and Taylor Brown, and Jodie Stimson. But the race at the front here between these two, so impressive, Cassandra Beaugrand.
Katie Zafiris won't give up an inch. There's a slight gap opening, but she's staying as close as she can out of those corners. Wow, Cassandra just opened up a stride. The gap opened, and I think that's the elastic band starting to break.
Now's about the time that Chris McCormack will tell us he knew this was going to happen all along.
I did pick Cassandra, didn't I, at the start of the
event? You picked everyone at some point.
I think you keep changing as who you see hits the lead.
A race between the Brits here. Jodie Stimson, 2014 Com Games gold medalist, and third in the WTS, Georgia Taylor Brown. That race for 5th and 6th. Championship points all important, but yes, the elastic band is broken, and Cassandra Beaugrand,
yep, she looks great.
Just looks composed, doesn't she? You're right that it takes her a little bit of a run, of course, as we mix up the formats, but it takes a little run for her to get into her stride, and like a natural runner, she finds it and she manages to hold that pace.
Yeah, for such a tall runner, for such a tall girl, she really moves out of those corners very, very fast. On the straight, she opens up, and we saw Ashley really put under pressure in stage one, but I'm surprised how quickly she moves on those corners. Katie Zafiris is no slouch. We saw it last year when she opened up on Olympic champion, Olympic silver medalist Nicola Spirig, and was able to shut her down in the run, which is very, very difficult to do. So what a day from this girl. What a day.
I would be hating all these podiums if I was Katie Zafiris. When is the top step going to arrive? When?
I don't know. That's the thing of racing. And, well, there's another day tomorrow. A chance then. But, yeah, today belongs to Cassandra. She just, yeah.
She can jog at home, and she looks comfortable. The face of Katie Zafiris, not quite as comfortable, but she'll be happy, I think, when it's all said and done, with second place, especially from the position that she was. Of course, tomorrow the enduro is 9 legs back to back to back, and I think the strength of Katie Zafiris, she'll be confident in that. Ashley Gentle has overtaken Kirsten Casper for third position, and she looked like she was a little shelled on the bike, having done so well in stage 2, Ashley Gentle, but she's found the reserves to take home a podium spot if it stands the way it is. But Jersey, welcome home your triple mix champion. It will be Cassandra Beaugrand. Plenty of French support. We're only 5 miles off the French coast here in Jersey in the English Channel. And the crowd knows how good this victory has been. Wire to wire. for Cassandra Beaugrand. She's taking the time for some high fives, and why not? She has done so well. Stage 1 win, stage 2 win, and now the triple wicks win for Cassandra Beaugrand. A big moment in an already stellar young career. Katie Zafiris, so much experience and used all of that to pace herself into second. Such respect between these two athletes. They know how hard they've all worked. And Ash Gentle takes a look behind, but she'll be able to hold off the sprint of Kirsten Casper.
And no time for high fives, Ashley.
No high fives there, none.
She's gone.
Yeah, she had a great run, brought herself back up into third, and Kristen Casper holding steady for fourth.
Fourth seems to be the lucky number for Kirsten Casper. She's incredibly consistent. Jodie Stimson will hold off Georgia Taylor-Brown. So much learnt for these athletes, especially the debutantes, in how to attack Super League racing. There's been so much talk in the days leading up of how do you actually go about this, and I think the answer is climb straight into the pain cave and don't get out.
Exactly. Go hard, then go harder, and hope you can hold on.
Summer Cook comes in, Rachel Clammer, who has really given everything she can. She always does in every race. Leonie Perriot, she struggled back in stage 1, but has really found her feet in the second 2 stages. Will come in 9th position ahead of Emma Jeffcoat, ever consistent. On the rise, Emma Jeffcoat, and Vicky Holland manages to come in just ahead of Claire Michelle, and you can see the pain on all of them as they come across the line.
That's a tough day's racing. You know, we heard Ashley starting in stage 3 saying, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. She ran through the finish third. She collapsed across the finish line. A very, very tough day. And remember, we have a full day again tomorrow, so it's going to be interesting to see just how these girls recover.
That's like the last thing they want to think about right now is doing it all over again tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll give them 5 minutes to just relish this win, especially Cassandra Beaugrand, and Annie is with her right now.
Cassandra, phenomenal racing. Did you expect that this morning before the race?
Thank you. It's a very hard race, so I'm happy to win the first round, and it's my favorite distance, so yes, I'm happy.
Can we say, though, that you did make it look easy, particularly on the run?
Yeah, it's my best discipline, I think, and yeah, I'm happy.
Tell me what you think of the format, this style of racing.
What?
Do you enjoy the racing?
Yeah, it's amazing with a big organization, so yeah.
And just how tough is it?
It's a big event.
The hardest race you've done?
Yeah, I think.
Well, congratulations. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you. So I'll see you tomorrow.
What a fight it was between the experience of Katie Zafiris and the raw power and pace of Cassandra Beaugrand, who is your winner of the triple mix. A huge crowd out here enjoying the racing. The men's racing will be up a little bit later on, and that will throw up a whole bunch more classic battles, as Super League tends to do. In a second, we're going to be able to hear from Katie Zafiris, and she really put all of her tactical nous into this one, and what a fantastic race it was from her. Annie, over to you.
Katie, amazing racing. I take my hat off to you. It looked hard work in the first 2 legs, though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with Super League, it's the round. There's 3 rounds, so in the first part, I was like, oh dear. I was actually happy there were 3 rounds because I definitely moved my way up as it went and kind of worked into everything.
What can you say about Cassandra Beaugrand? She's so young and still very inexperienced.
I mean, we've been watching her this year, and she's just been such a fierce competitor, and you know that she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I was hoping that maybe if I got that shortcut on the run, it would be enough, but it wasn't enough.
And that last swim and the shortcut that you gained, that was impressive, because right at the end of 3 stages, it must have been tough to have swam as hard as you did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a chaser at heart. Like, I saw Cassandra ahead, and I just tried to, like, calmly but quickly try and catch her so that I could come off on her feet. And when I came up the ramp with her, I just tried to get to the line before her so I could have the shortcut.
And out of 10, how tough was it today for you?
I would say definitely a 10. It was hard.
you're going to be back racing tomorrow and with all the energy.
Yeah, 22 hours to recover, no problem.
Great stuff, Katie.
What a race that was. We're going to need 22 hours to recover as well. Fantastic racing from Katie Zafiris, and tactically very astute as well. And she earns second position. She gets 21 points in terms of the championship. Cassandra Beaugrand takes the full 25. Ashley Gentle 18. Kirsten Casper 16. Jodie Stimson 14. Georgia Taylor Brown takes 12 competition points, and they go on from there. But maximum points for Cassandra Beaugrand, and she earned every single one of those. Podium will be coming up next. We'll be waiting for that, but just a quick comment from both of you on how you saw that racing. Was it what you expected it to be? Flora, was it more brutal than you thought it would be? Was it anything like you maybe had in your mind?
Yeah, it definitely looked brutal out there. But no, I sort of had, as Katie had mentioned, you know, Cassandra has been one to watch all year and sort of picked her as a wild card to win this race. It sort of depended on how a few things unfolded, but yeah, she came in there and just really took the race by the horns and made it her own.
Without question, my takeaway in particular was just how much difficulty you can put yourself and how much you have to chase if you have a really bad stage one. And I was really impressed with Ashley Gentle. She got out very, very early in stage one. She was able to set that up in stage two when she dived into the swim with the lead. Said she was absolutely cooked, and then to run through and finish third, magnificent day for Ash.
Let's have a look now at some of the key moments of this race, if you like, and Katie Zafiris alluded to it, but she said she was a chaser at heart and just used her tactical nous, if you like, to put the gas on, as she did here, elbow Cassandra Beaugrand out of the way and come across the line, and you can see that she just manages to take that short shoot, and that put her in with a shot and forced Cassandra Beaugrand to respond. She really didn't have anything left. Cassandra Beaugrand would have known that was happening, but just been unable to respond, if you like.
A very, very clever move, and that's the entire reason we implemented it. It's to create strategic racing, and that's what we did.
And then it took nearly a lap for Cassandra Beaugrand to bridge that gap created by the short shoot, but she did so through Thunder Alley, and she was never headed from that position on. And as soon as she started to track down Katie Zafiris, she thought, this is Cassandra's day.
Yep, absolutely. You saw her open up, get comfy in her stride, and that was sort of it, really.
It's majestic when she really gets comfortable in that stride and knows exactly how far she needed to push herself. And unlike the pain faces we saw coming across the line from sort of 6th through 15th, she doesn't look too distressed at that point, even managed a hint of a smile there, and she takes out 25 championship points, and she has absolutely earned it, and she has written her name into the short history of Super League Triathlon as one to watch as the season and the years progress, because she has a long and potentially brilliant career ahead of her.
The first ever athlete in Super League racing. We've had 3 Super League events to win all 3 stages in a single day.